What is up? Hey, everybody. Richard and Shell here, Digital Brand Alchemy. Once again, doing a live. I am excited to see you guys and excited to chat and check in with everybody today.
Yeah,
Has
happy
been an
Saturday,
exciting.
everyone.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Happy Saturday. I'm happy to be here, up
It's
and
been an
about.
excitingly slow week for me.
Has it been exciting? There hasn't been
No.
much excitement, but
Yeah, no.
we can make the excitement happen right now. Also, my cat Bella may be running across the screen a few times, so there's excitement there.
Yeah, so I've been stuck in technology land all week myself. I still got stickies on my desk of stuff that I've been trying that are waiting for this one task that I've been working on all week, and it feels like it's just dragging out forever for me. How about you?
Uh, I would say less dragging, just less productive overall for me. More self-care, for sure. As I try to stay sane and oh, cat appearance number one, maybe? Nope, gonna play with pen. Yeah, just trying to mitigate these unprecedented times. Um, I really hate that saying. Have I told you that before? It's
Did you hate
driving me
that saying?
nuts. Yeah, I mean, everybody keeps using those words. That's starting to get a little bit in my head.
Oh,
And
sorry, I didn't mean to jump to the screen just yet.
it's okay. Down with you. Sorry, had to put her in her place. Yeah, I've just been trying to hold it together. Um, I live alone, in case you guys don't know that. And so I get kind of lonely a little bit, even though I'm used to living by myself. Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for joining us. And so I feel less productive than I did last week, but I'm still trying to keep the momentum going. Still doing my outreach, still having good calls, still staying connected to people. It's just been slower. So not so much dragging, just different.
Yep. For me, I feel like I've worked more than ever, but I'm not so sure I'm getting as much done. Not it's just because I've hit brick walls and stuff that's just like took hours to solve. And I could go into some of that, like the purpose behind it, maybe as part of this. But today, I really feel like because of these unprecedented times, um,
That
that like
saying doesn't
now,
bother you? I mean, seriously, it's not bothering anybody else? Come on, jump in
well,
here.
I think right now, like, is a great opportunity for us with online marketing. That you're stuck at home, so now what are you going to do in order to help build your own business? You got the time to do it, and other people are looking for what you have. So my thought is go build out a group, build out your tribe, your clan, whatever you want to call it, and start congregating your people together and give them what they need. Be empathetic, be understanding during this period of time. And between now and however long this is going to take, maybe another, I don't know, 2 months. Hopefully not that long, but maybe 6 weeks of everybody having to stay inside or isolated, 2 months, and then of course the economy having to recover after that. But that when we come out the other side, you can be stronger and really well positioned, because there are a lot of people, even some of my clients, like one of my coaching focuses is I just have to say, like they're scheduled to do lives, for example, and I have to say, okay, well, go do your live, and they're like, I just don't feel like it, whatever, because it right now is a period where everybody's falling into just being down. So
Yeah.
people need the help. If you step into that gap for them, you can build out your community right now, because people are looking for someone to help them. So that's
Yeah.
what's on my mind for today.
It's definitely a weird thing to navigate because I am falling victim to feeling down a little bit, especially again since I live alone and I'm basically in isolation. Um, but I also want to be there still for all other people. So a lot of times I'm giving tips or I'm trying to help people, but I'm also still speaking to myself. Like I turn the mirror around and I'm like directly speaking to what I need to hear too, because I got to keep going. So
All
difficult to
right.
navigate. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jump in and ask us questions. Richard,
So
if
this
you want
is,
to get us started with some.
I think your nickname is Kimmy, right? That's the
Yeah.
Olu Kimmy is her nickname is Kimmy.
Yeah, I think
Um,
last week we were calling her Kemi.
yeah. So to let you guys know, I am now I'm having to arrange my windows a little bit. We're streaming to 4 places on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, just because, and LinkedIn if it will accept it. And in order to do that, I can't do it all from StreamYard. StreamYard limits the number that I can send to. Cool. Kimmy said yes, it is. StreamYard limits the number of people that I can, or the number of locations I can stream to at 5. So I'm having to use another tool called Restream.io. What's really cool is I asked Restream today, I said, when will you allow me to be able to have like a guest on the show like I do here through StreamYard? And they said within a few months. So once that happens, I'll be able to just do everything from one place. So I feel like I'm kind of patchwork together. I'll be able to do everything from one place and manage it a lot better. Unfortunately, for those that are on other platforms like YouTube, I can see your chat if you say hello, or also Periscope. So to Twitter. So if you're on one of those other platforms, say hello, I'll see the chat, but because the way this works, I can't actually display it on the stream. I don't think I can try, but I don't think I can. But if you're in one of the Facebook spots like Digital Brand Alchemy Group, then we can put your comments just like that on the screen. Alrighty, so
still not linking to Instagram at all. We haven't figured that out yet, right?
yeah, because it's a hack. I could probably do it. You just basically get a piece of middleware that I would stream into, and it would pretend like it was a phone, and it would send the video into Instagram. Yeah. But then you always have to keep up with all the little changes that they're making, and it won't always work. And then finally, if they catch you doing it and you're not supposed to, then you lose your account. So I just haven't fooled with all that nonsense.
Yeah. And speaking of not getting access to streaming, how long did it take you to get approved by LinkedIn to go live?
Oh, I still don't know if I'm approved. Let me check if Restream's able to send to them. LinkedIn is my jam.
For them.
Yeah, I've applied like 3 times, and they're definitely my jam. Like that's where I know how to market really well, but they don't play nice with me. I'm trying to see.
Which is interesting because you have so many followers that why would they not want you to reach more?
Yep, I agree. I'm not able to see those stats right now in Restream. Maybe I'll check afterwards, and I'll be able to tell if I was able to go to LinkedIn or not.
But you have to do it through a third party. You can't just like hit go live the way you can on Facebook.
No, you have to go through that. That's another thing that's really bad about LinkedIn. Like it really, to me, it's the way Microsoft works. Microsoft they don't think user experience and make things easy. They think something else, and then they make things really difficult. So like Facebook's very smart. If you've got a webcam, you go to your group, you can just click, go live. But on LinkedIn, you have to go to some third party, get them to connect up to LinkedIn. It's like they don't think about trying to make the user experience easy, which is really bad for their business.
Okay.
It's okay. Like I can still stream.
So many people are going live on LinkedIn, and I can't imagine that like they wouldn't want more traffic that way to keep people on their platform.
Right. And what's really weird too is like they don't tell you why you're not being accepted. They don't even tell you you're not accepted. All they really do is you apply, you get an email within 24 hours that says, we'll look over your application. You may never hear back from us. If you're approved, we'll let you know. And it's like, okay. And then you don't know if like you got to wait 60 days to hear back. And if you haven't heard back, then that's a no. Like it's bizarre. But that's their business model. So, so for today's topic, unless you had any other intro stuff on your mind.
No, let's jump right in. Can you put them? You have the banners ready to pop them across the screen?
Banners.
Yeah. Last week you typed in the questions as the banners.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that this time. But what I was going to do was, there we go. Now it's working. Is I wanted to look at David Barnes' posted. I don't know if he posted this because of the email I sent out, or if it was highly coincidental that he posted this and it just clicked right along with what I'd already had on my mind. Bad news, I can't actually read that in the screen share. It's too small, so I have to go to the actual page. Oh, that's cool, and I can actually see comments coming in. And Jolene says she can see the banners. Oh, cool, and she accepted the app too, so there's Jolene. Jolene is the one on the left. As a matter of fact, she and I are working on a secret project. I don't know how much of it I can divulge yet, but it's going to be super big and it's very exciting. So it's good to see her drop in and say hello. She's also another marketer, a really smart marketing friend of mine. She makes me look smart. She does digital funnels and things like that. So we will have a lot of fun coming up. Yep. So anyway, so back to David. He had said that he's going to make a membership site, it looks like. And he's like, which membership or opt-in provider sites do we think is best? Should he just consider using landing pages and email options? He started a Facebook group, which is cool. So it's a lot of, hey, I got this great idea. I think now's a good time to move. And I've just got like all these questions about where do I start? So I think Facebook groups are great. They do have some drawbacks. Number one, Facebook is noisy. So when someone's in your Facebook group, they can easily get distracted and go somewhere else with their notifications. Your notifications can get drowned out where they don't even know that you're posting something. However, if you can get engagement up in your group, I think it pays off because then the group starts to self-perpetuate. And I really love to see, like I've watched this group slowly pick up more activity. It's not a lot by any stretch of the imagination, which in some ways is also good because it's not overwhelming. It's not like people are posting 5 things in there every day and you quickly can't keep up with a group. Sometimes it could be too noisy.
Yeah, but they're also, maybe they're just waiting for you to bring all the noise.
True. But sometimes that too indicates, that it may be a dead group if there's not enough activity going on. So
yeah, I don't think that's the case here. I think there's so many people joining every day. I think there's so much else going on right now that they're overwhelmed maybe with where even to jump in. But I definitely don't think there's a lack of like wanting to be here.
Yep. And I'm actually negligent right now. Can we see? Like here is my LinkedIn. I got 21 messages waiting. And by the way, that's 21 messages in the last 12 hours. Because every time you click on messaging, like it resets that number back to 0, even if you don't go and read all those messages. So I think I probably have 60 to 80 messages that are waiting because I've just been so focused over the last couple of days. And a lot of those, where I'm at right now that's really bad is a lot of those are people saying, hey, yes, I'd love to come join your group, which timing wise would be optimum to have been able, like Friday, to have sent them the link and said, cool, join, we got a live going on tomorrow. And they'd be here, a certain number of them would be here for this live stream. I just haven't been able to get to it. So
sounds like a good problem to have.
Sometimes, yeah. It's kind of like the parking lot dilemma, you're not enough parking spaces because your store is jam-packed full can be good. So what's up, David? I guess he's just heard that we will go through some of that stuff. David, so specifically for you, since you brought it up, and as we go, of course, for anyone else, if you've got questions about what to do with a group and things like that, then by all means ask them. And even if you want to hop on, you got a webcam and it's kind of quiet around your house, like join. The link is down at the bottom of this window, rpurls.com/live-guest. And just like I add Shell in, I will be able to add you in and we can go live and talk through things. So happy to do it. All right. So one of the things I will get into a little bit more like plugins and some of the options. And I thought that I was typing an answer, David, to your post, and then I navigated off of that Facebook page and it popped up and said, do you want to leave? And I think I clicked yes. And I don't think it actually saved all the stuff I had typed in.
You're you're perpetuating the problem here, leaving
Yes.
the Facebook group while you're trying to do
Yep.
other.
Yep. So bad on me if I lost that. But I wanted to see if I could show you guys some
And also just
stats.
curious, like just throwing it out there while you're pulling up whatever you're
Mhm.
typing away at. Are you looking, guys, for membership sites specifically because you want to keep it private to certain members, or because you don't want content to be displayed like super visible to people that are not in the group, or are they working through certain like modules and activities and like videos that they've paid for, and that is it like a paid membership? So I'm curious to hear like what kind of membership site you're looking to set up, because if it's more than just a Facebook group, yes, to which part, David? The membership site because they're paying for something that you're giving them access to?
See what he says.
Oh, he wants to join in. So you see at the bottom of the screen, there's the join live. Just go to that website and it'll log you right in. It'll pop up a screen that says, to test your camera, your video feed, your sound, and then it asks how you want to display your name, and then you can just hit join.
So you can do it from your cell phone. It is a little better if you do it from a regular computer, but cell phones are good enough. And just type in https://rpurls.com/live-guest. And Shell, you used that link to come in today, didn't you? Because I'd
Yes, I
sent,
did.
yeah.
Yeah. Which
So
is
confirm.
different than what you normally give me to join, because that's specific to the specific one. But I think you said if you reset it every time I could always use this URL.
Yep. And I was confirming too, just with you just then to make sure that yes, it actually did work correctly.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise,
cool.
you would have been waiting for me and then like, are you coming?
Like where are you?
No, but I gave you a heads up.
I need okay. I'm going to show you guys my world. I hope I don't blow your mind too much. Let me see. I think I'm
Guys, it blows
sharing.
my mind every week. It's
Yeah,
there.
come on now.
I'm not just like blowing smoke here. Like I learn something from you every week. So other people, be prepared.
Okay, I'm
Mine
going to
is
see
blown.
if I can share. Oh, I had to do it by application window. Let's do it that way. Okay, so, and I'm guessing you guys can't see that too well. So, where's the zoom? Let's go to like 200%. Does that help? Is that readable? Yeah, it looks readable. Okay, so here are just two campaigns that I've ran, and I keep track of my own stuffs. And this first one, I just didn't fill in the date. I can go get it if I want. I do want to update this the stats, because I know these stats are not correct, because I was just typing in some numbers the other day to see what it would look like. Let me hop into where this is so that I can run it. I think I can just go here. And
We're looking at all his back end coding right now.
yeah, so this is what
Over my head.
This is what I spend all my time doing. Okay, 364 accepted. That was the number that I wanted to get plugged in here. Okay, so what this is I sent this message to 2,365 people. I think it took, that may have been over a 4-week period. 364 said yes. So that gives us a conversion ratio of 15%.
And these are
tracked,
LinkedIn messages, or this is emails, or what?
yes. Yeah. So like building off of what I showed last week with how I do messaging on LinkedIn. So if you guys didn't see that, like you kind of missed out. Because
Go rewatch it. I think it's still in there.
Oh yeah. So last week's live somewhere around the middle, I actually share my screen just like now, and I walk you through doing a LinkedIn search. We go through what some of the filters are that you'd commonly use, and I talk about how you can begin to engage people. It really works if you want to go find your people, and you can narrow down your market space, your ideal customer, with a LinkedIn search. Like this totally works. You can do it small figure out your messaging, get used to talking to people, get used to converting them, and presenting your product or your service or whatever, and like refine that down. Then you can come contact a guy like me and say, Richard, I'm ready to scale up because like I got all this stuff working, and we can go blow it up.
Guys, in case you missed it, for real, this works because I've been doing it. We have not looked at my conversion rate. It's only been a few weeks. What's it been, like 4 weeks now?
Which we should be able to figure that out now, by the way. Like by now,
David's still trying to figure out how to dial in.
Oh no,
it's not a dial in. You just go to that website.
Yeah, and Jolene's even trying to help him out. Thank you, Jolene.
Yeah. But yeah, so this totally works.
Wait, he's here. Sorry. What up, David?
How long were you sitting in the waiting room?
Oh, not very long at all.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is really cool. I couldn't figure it out, but I got it, and it's good to be here with you guys. Thanks for doing this today.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to see, like, I don't like the way this looks because it makes it look like I'm Mr. Big and you guys are the little people. Let me see if there's a way. Yeah, there we go.
Richard,
I wanted to have a way to.
Can you put yourself in the middle? I don't want to be in the middle.
Yeah, and I can't see him. He's not coming through right now. I just have his really cool logo, but I'm not hearing him. I can hear you just perfectly.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Let's see. What am I doing wrong?
That's weird. How come, Richard, how come he can hear me but not you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you great also. So maybe, all right, Richard, I see a little session thing. Looks like he's wanting to come in. This is awful caused by an unstable internet connection. Okay. So it doesn't like my internet connection. So let me see if I can move it around. Sorry to be technically challenged. Everybody's at home, and so you know, the neighborhood's hitting that internet pretty hard right now. But I guess this is a real-time example, isn't it?
Yes,
for sure. Yesterday, I think I was on a Zoom call, and we couldn't get one person's like internet to stay stable enough for her to even she could hear us, but we couldn't hear her. And so then we actually had to like call in and have a conference call, but still watch each other on the screen.
Well, here's what we can do so we don't have to wait too long, and I don't want to mess up your vibe of your call. Can I just ask my question, and then I guess I can go back and get it and listen offline? How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you, Richard. You've been a great resource, and your knowledge is really, really helpful. And I've been taking some of your advice and got a Facebook group going and need to get in an opt-in system. And I have my own website. And my question is, should I be using one of the opt-in services that are out there? And maybe even just walk away from my website altogether and change the URL to some opt-in so I can start housing my content. I'm going to be doing videos. Or am I better off just creating my own opt-in on my current website and using that as the place that I have my content and I want to get a membership going that's really accessible so that I can help people right now with what's going on. Our company is called Peace of Mind Overtures, and we use movies to help people heal their emotions. And so there's a lot of things stirred in the times we're in right now, and I want to get out there in an effective way, but also in a way that could start to build for the long run with a lot of content. So what's the best way to go? And I'll go offline on that so I can go listen on Facebook. Okay.
Okay. All right. And those are really, really good questions. And it really feeds right into this. I love, Michelle, you can still hear me, right?
I can still hear you. Yeah. And
He's got me second guessing myself now. And by the way,
that was really weird though, that he could hear me, but not you.
But not me. I'm keeping my eye on my wireless mic. It says my receiver has 2 out of 3 on the battery, which sometimes what happens is like it says 3 out of 3 for like hours, and I use it for a couple of weeks, then it'll go to 2 out of 3, and like 10 minutes later it's gone. So if you suddenly can't hear me, just start waving your hands. I'll know it's the batteries, and I'll go get them replaced.
All right. Yeah, David, those were great questions. And I actually have some follow-ups to that. But Richard, you're so excited to jump right in. Let's go.
You go ahead because this will be interesting to hear, because you and I have talked about how to do this in your own business. So
Yeah.
you go ahead and then I'll follow up.
So I'll start by saying that right now I have my website up, but I do not have a membership or anything set up as far as oh, yay, welcome back. As far as like getting people to join and walk them through any like kind of paid modules or anything like that. Richard and I have discussed the possibility of setting those up in the future for my business. I'm just not there yet. But here are some things that I've been thinking about and playing around with. Right now, I am looking to do a webinar or a workshop online, and whether that's a paid one or a free one, it doesn't matter. I'm looking to do that through Crowdcast. It's similar to other platforms, except that I believe, unlike other platforms, when you have a webinar, I can collect payments and also have them then join my subscription right off the bat and collect all that data. So maybe look into that, David, to see if that's a platform that you can use. Other people have told me about using Teachable for course modules. And for myself, for courses that I've been going through, people seem to be consistently using Kartra to set up their online courses and their web experiences that are paid subscriptions, that you want to limit their private access to things that other people in the public can't see. Now, if it's going to be also things that are more free to public or for people to have access through your regular website, maybe just think about making videos on YouTube and then linking them or embedding them in your site and vice versa. That way you get the traffic on both. Or using a service like, sorry, my cat's running across the screen again, or using a service like Loom, which is great to make videos and share your screen. And then you can either link those into your course site or, again, embed them onto your site or link to them the same way you would with YouTube. And those are two ways that I think you can do it for free, especially right now. Loom during this time has made the amount of videos that you can make unlimited, whereas previously you could only have up to 25 free videos. They've now taken off that cost. So
I thought it was 100. You could have 100 that weren't in the archive, like right unarchived ones.
On the free plan.
Yep,
it's
so.
unlimited right now.
But I thought it used to be 100. I didn't know they had changed it to 25.
Definitely they think they had downgraded it to 25 because I was getting messages every day as soon as I was hitting that limit and like archiving everybody like crazy, like when I was making videos to send to link to people. Yeah, I mean, look into using something like Kartra for sure.
Yep, and that's what Jolene also said. Yeah, because David was saying, how do you spell it? Jolene says Kartra.
Can you see Jolene's comment right there?
Well, he can see it in the video for sure. So.
Yeah, but it's also popping up in the screen right now. It's Kartra.
Yep. So I want to add. You guys know me. I'm very detailed. My wife gets onto me all the time. She says, like, she'll ask me a question and I give her like a 5-minute answer because I'm going to give her the context. So I will give you guys my first answer and then I'm going to come back and give you the details. My first answer is start as simple as possible. Like, and this is something I think that Shell, you and I have worked on with your business models. Like, you got to start simple. I meet a lot of people in business that are just getting started and they go very complex really quick. And
they want to do
everything. End up juggling a million different things. And you have to go learn all of those different things that you're going to, you're not the only one. You got to go learn all those different things and become the master of them before you can actually get started. And no joke, I'll ask people in my first session with them, how long you been in business? 2 years. I'm like, okay, so how many sales do you have? None. Okay, what have you been doing for 2 years? Well, the last 6 months I've been changing my website. It's like, really? It's taking you 6 months to change your website? Like, because we have this idea that if I don't have a logo and I don't have a really catchy business name and I don't have a really nice website and I don't have a Facebook group and I don't have, then I can't make any sales. But you know what? People were selling business services and products long before Facebook and websites were ever around. So this idea that you have to have a website in order to make a sale is just not really true. Would I want you to have a website? Absolutely. I've got one. But when making your website work stops you from business progress, it's not valuable anymore. So my answer is simple. I think that this is his response. So I want to share this thing. It says remove from stream, but it's not even in the stream. Okay. So this is what people that I meet are usually focused on. Building a website, getting email, and setting up social. By the way, Shell, can you see the little hand move on the screen too?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. So
And
you can
that
tell.
was me. The website, email, social. That was the order that I tried to do it. Nope, doesn't work.
Okay, so let's stick this in context of what it looks like to actually build a business. So if you just focus on this square section right here and kind of ignore these other ones, I should probably color them differently. Those are problems people can have at different levels. But you start down here in the bottom left with product development.
We can't
And you
see
want to
that.
make
David's banner is covering it that you have on the screen right now.
Sorry. And I really
Yeah.
wish there's a way that I could like share comments to you and you could turn them on and off. That would be so smart. But anyway, maybe when we get over to Restreamer, it'll work correctly. And I can always scoot it up. So you have to start off with product development first. If you don't have a good product, like it doesn't matter how good your website is, like you're not going to be able to sell, or you're just going to have people that hate you because we're going to give them something that's not a good product, and then we make nothing but bad press out of that, and then we get discouraged and we burn out everybody we know. So you got to start with good product development, and I like the model of MVP. That's minimum viable product. So what's the smallest single thing that I can feed in and get some sales going? And get feedback and improve on. So maybe like in David's case, and even in my case, okay, let's go build a course, and it's going to be 10 hours of recorded, whatever. Okay, that's cool, but what would be a minimum viable version of that? So what if I just gave a 1 hour talk, or what if I gave live streams and got people's feedback? Then as I talked on the live stream, I would find out what people are really interested in and how I could really help them, which is what customer feedback is. So then I get their customer feedback, and then I start developing a product market fit where I find out, when I talk about this problem, nobody really cares because that's not the problem from their perspective. But when I talk about these subjects, they light up. Like this is what the market is interested in. Now I'm gonna fit my product, which when I say product, it may be a service, like a counseling service. It could be coaching, but I'm using that term generically. But now I'm going to fit my product to what the market keeps telling me that it wants or needs. And then I'm going to go learn how to do sales. And now in the sales process, this is when, okay, I'm going to start thinking about having a website and an email list and social. Now, a lot of people that I see on social, they don't do any of this groundwork part. They just hop straight into social and they go set up, Facebook group or Instagram, and they start like sending out 1 million different messages a day. I've got images and quotes and stuff that are going out all the time too. However, that's not the only thing I'm doing. And I didn't start there. I started with a product and product development first. And you're doing the website, email, and social to help you in your sales, but you got to have a product first. So for me, start simple. Here's an even simpler way to do it in if you just want to use Facebook and no website whatsoever. One public group where you're holding live streams, and one private group that people PayPal you and you manually add them, and it's just a group of 5 to 10 people, but they're paying you monthly for whatever that is. Like it doesn't get much simpler than that. So I go for simple. And then after that, by the way, once you get this smoothed out, then you want, and Shell, this is kind of where you're still working through the sales side, but where you're heading is on that stability line where, okay, now I'm going to make a process. I'm going to refine my messaging. I'm going to get a regular process going, and I'm going to find a consistent source of leads, which I think you have already. And you transition away from just focusing on sales, but now how can I run my business and make things better?
Yeah, we're definitely headed in the right direction for sure. Jolene says, if you already have a website, I think it makes you look credible. So if you already have a web framework, I'd keep it and just build on it anyway.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. Totally agree. If you, so to summarize what she's saying, if you have a website, go ahead and use it. Like, don't just throw it away, but totally use
Yeah.
it. And even on the project that she and I are working on, we're going to do a group. If I could let some of the details out, we're going to do a special group. It is not going to be on Facebook. We're doing something a little bit different. And we're designing a website, but we're not spending a lot of time like to build out all the stuff on the website, which would slow us down. We want to really just get to where we're delivering value right up front. And don't let all those other things like get in your way.
Yeah.
Let them add to your business, not drag your business down.
Work out all the bigger kinks first, and then you can go back in and address the issues with your website, or address the issues with like building your social media following and all those other things. But there's definitely for sure more important ways to start and simpler to like deliver your content and add value.
Yep. So I always want to go on simple. Another aspect of this product development line. Let me go back so I can move this up so it's not covered by our logos. Is, you're proving that your idea is actually worth it, that it will actually work before you spend a lot of time developing a website for a product that nobody wants or whatever. And I'm telling you, like when you start talking about websites, so I use WordPress. Jolene, can you remind me of which membership plugin we decided we were going to go with? I can't remember. We got it documented. I'd have to go look it up. Maybe Jolene, if you wanted to and were able, she could even hop on here and give some of her thoughts on this as well. More than welcome. But like there are so many membership options, whether you're going to do it on your website, do it through some other service. If you're putting together a course, do you host it on your website or do you use some other service? Like there's so many things to try to go and learn that anybody who was just going to, yes, she said wish list. That sounds right. But then again, I'm old, so my memory doesn't work as good. But there's so many different options. You have to become an expert at, what are all the options just for membership, right? So then you got to go do all this research to go figure that out. And then when you decide, okay, I'm going to use Wishlist, if you've never used it before, it doesn't matter what plugin you use, like if you're going to WordPress route or whatever, it doesn't matter what tool you're going to use, you're going to end up hitting little snags and complications where things just don't work right. And now you're talking like 2 weeks of banging your head against technology to figure out how to make these little things fit together, all the while your business is going nowhere. So simple. Like I would solve Wishlist member after I proved that I can get people to come into a paid only group of some kind, whether it's maybe even a private Zoom call where only the people that have paid can join your Zoom. You can, I don't know what the limitations are. I think you can have a lot of people in a Zoom, but Zoom is simple. They've already figured that out, and you can easily make a password that only paying members will have. So like you don't have to go through all these complications right off the bat in order to start having success and prove that your idea works. Plus, if you build like a group or you're doing Zooms and they're recorded and you're sharing them, like whatever, you're building up this community, which is the real key, that when you have a website with a like brand looking beautiful membership and all that kind of stuff, like you already have this momentum of people that are going to plug right into it. And you will feel like, wow, this business is really taking off. Whereas if you struggle through putting that website together and bang your head for a while, and then you get one person to join, you feel defeated. So it's a huge psychological game.
Yeah, and Jolene agrees with that. She says 100% it's important to validate your offering before wasting your time and money.
Secret about Jolene, she and I are like almost always on the same wavelength. When we talk, I'll say some stuff and she'll get all excited. She's like, oh, we're on the same wavelength for that, So, or she'll say something and it's like, yeah, that's the smart thing that I would want to do too. It's like we are, what's the word, simpatico? Like we're in sync on so many things. So start simple.
So yeah, Jolene, do you want to hop on?
Yeah, keep poking her, right? Yeah, you don't have to have a fancy background like me or Shell to hop on here. As
I don't have a fancy
David
background.
just showed, walking around, his whole house with us on live on Facebook in these unprecedented times.
God, strike that phrase from your vocabulary, sir.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like this little model that has been put together. I don't know what else I can scrape out of it that would help on this. I will say that at each level, maybe I'll just throw this out, different levels of your business development will have different types of problems. And as a coach, what I do as I sit down and I figure out which of these problems do people have, and then that tells me where they are in their business development process. Little sneaky backwards way of doing it. But once you know that, like, a model, like, and I'm not saying every business follows this exact path and that this model has every single thing in it. Like, I'm not saying that at all. This is a rough, approximation of things in the order in which you should focus on. But it's really interesting when I sit down and I hear people say what problems they have. Like, I know where they're trying to work, and then I go back to steps prior to that and find out how much have they already done. And if they haven't done some prior steps, then I try to convince them they don't need to do the website just yet. You need to make sure you can sell your widget or whatever. And how can we do that without a website and get sales quickly? And Chell, you could talk about that maybe for a minute.
Selling
so
without a website?
Yeah, Jolene is a big exerciser. She'll come in here and crack the whip and make all of us do push-ups. So when she says she hasn't showered, it's probably because she just got finished doing a workout.
But I think you can jump on with just the audio. We just stop her camera from.
Yes, actually, I think, Jolene, you can stop your own camera. Or I wonder if there's a way that no.
Would it just show her name across a black screen the way it does on
probably. Zoom? Yeah, so Shell, let me share let me see if this is what you see. If I go to this application window, do you see these bars over here where comments, banners, brand?
No.
But do you have anything over there?
No.
Oh, that's so sad. Can I give that to you? Guess. Play sound, guess, can see viewer comments, and there's no way to give you other permissions. Man, that is so sad.
I like that you can add a green screen, though. I wish I had that.
I think you do. I think click on your cam mic settings. This one, and do you not have a green screen option? I think my browser doesn't support it, but I don't need it. Like, I like the desk I've got in the background anyway. It
has like a yellow caution symbol.
Yeah, so it's not enabled right now for you. So Jolene said she did just do a workout. I knew it.
I've not worked out
yet.
Yeah,
Jolene,
today.
Try to
That's
join
okay.
in, and let's see if you can do just audio. We'll be happy to see if that can work out. Yeah.
So David, let us know if we adequately answered some of your membership site questions.
Jolene said she did just do a workout.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear
we can
you.
also hear us through you.
I've not worked out
yeah,
yet
Jolene,
today.
try to
That's
join
okay.
in.
Okay.
And let's see if you'll have to stop the video. We'll be happy to see if it can work out.
I'll have to stop the audio.
Yes.
No, you have to
on
stop
the
playing.
Facebook video.
You have to stop the Facebook video.
If we adequately answered some of your membership site questions.
Jolene said she did.
So much lag.
Yeah, it's like what, 30 seconds?
That at least. Jolene, can you still hear us?
She muted herself. I guess while she's and she dropped off. We didn't mean to stop this video. You have to stop the Facebook one. But while we're waiting on how to figure that out, Shell, so I think when you and I first started chit-chatting, when you and I first were chatting 6 months-ish ago, I think since then you had done several different courses and several different foci, whatever, on your business. And
we've refocused so many times. Yeah,
so in the last 3-4 weeks, whatever, that you and I have been working closely together. Contrast the difference for folks. Like, what did you used to think was important, and now what do you think is important?
One of the first, I always knew from the beginning, I knew what my target audience was, which is all young women that are recent graduates from college or about to be, or like still entry level. I've always known that that's what my niche market is. What I didn't know in the beginning, I was very gung-ho to like put myself out there, grow myself on social media, get like followers in order to get people to sign up for an email list. I very much was building my website from the beginning. Even though I knew who my clients were or my ideal clients, I didn't know what I was giving them. I think it took like a lot of conversations between us to like really figure out like, all right, so you get somebody on the phone, like, what are you selling them? And I think we tweak it a little bit here and there, but for the most part, we've really honed in on like what my offering should be. And in the past 3 to 4 weeks, I haven't really focused as much on my website or building my social media following because I'm more focused on client outreach and talking to people and getting to know what their pain points are to make sure that I'm on track and like focused on the right things so that I can give them the right things. So I know more now what I'm selling. I know more now like how to go about going through those calls and what that looks like for me. And I've really gained a lot of momentum, even in a slower week and less productive week at that. Like I've still maintained that client outreach and like that level of excitement with knowing that I'm going in a viable direction now.
So it sounds like Jolene is back, but
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes,
we can.
We can.
Yeah,
looks like
I have dual screens going, so I just was not cluing in about turning off the Facebook one. I just quickly jumped out.
Yep, no worries.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Also,
Nice to meet you as
I was
well.
trying to figure this out with Shell, but she doesn't have all the extra stuffs that I've got. But I do see like a little face or a person's silhouette on your thing. I wonder if you have a way of like, is there an
Adding a
option to upload a picture?
I stopped my camera because I have just worked out and I'm like red tomato faced and everything.
That's totally fine.
Have you not seen me?
Yes.
Like, come on.
And that's after he's turned on his lighting so that he's not all blue.
Yes. I would rather be a strawberry
around and
shortcake
see
than.
Oh, I can edit my avatar.
Yes.
Let me see.
And then just upload a picture.
I will look.
I'm going to trade y'all's positions too. Hold on just a second. Let me see.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, that's
backstage.
There we go.
Oh, there I am. Okay.
Yeah, it took like I clicked on you and it took like 5 seconds before. But so that way, Shell, you're right there with your logo.
That's cool.
All right, proper branding.
Let's
So
see
Jolene,
if this works.
There
Yeah.
we go. Yes.
Yeah, there I am. Showered.
Yes.
And I like how it radiates, like it pulses with the sound as she speaks too.
Yeah, it's good.
So Jolene, what are your thoughts too, like on the building your product and quickly going to market before you spend a lot of time on your website and all that kind of stuff? How much of our stuff do you want to divulge early?
Yeah, we can get into a little bit of that. I will say too, was it David? I've had my own business for 12 years and I've been building websites for probably a bit longer. And it's absolutely true that you can really get stuck on the big picture side of things where you're like building out so many different things. And then you go to launch a product or a service, but then your customers start telling you exactly what they want. So then you're reworking everything. And then you kind of feel like, oh man, I just spent like 6 months or a year building that. And now I have to go back and redo the work. So with what Richard says about, it's important to validate your product or model or see if there's an interest and get that community going. And, I was one of the first YouTubers that joined on YouTube when it first came out. And it's quite true that once you have an audience, you can pretty much sell anything. But it's important to build up that audience now. And that's sort of the cart after the horse now. A lot of times back in the day, I think, Richard, you can agree, we would build our product first and then we would be marketing. Nowadays with social media, we're able to build an audience first and then figure out what we want to sell.
Absolutely. And it's safer because people will tell you what they really need versus you guessing about it for a long time and hoping to hit it just right. And then wondering, why doesn't this work well?
Exactly. So I've already sort of, like Richard and I have had some long discussions just on the pain that I went through with LinkedIn, where I launched my podcast, and it was really exciting that it took off and I was getting massive engagement. But at the same time, I was like, well, I'm not really driving any traffic to anything that I do because I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to offer. But what I had done is I validated my market, and I went from 400 connections to just over 3,500 connections, all CEOs and entrepreneurs, and which is my market. So once I kind of developed that audience, it's like, okay, I stopped my podcast. Now I know exactly what I want to launch and what I want to offer.
Over what time period did that happen that you gained that following?
17 weeks.
Okay.
And those were all people that connected with me. I didn't send any out, which
that's amazing.
Yeah, Richard, he kind of knows the pain that I had. I got invited. My show was done pretty professionally. So I think I was one of the first people that launched a TV sort of show that was done very documentary style. And I'm a marketer, so I had done it, with teaser videos, much like Gary Vee. And I had a ton of people that were, what are you doing? Who are you? I'm going to talk to you. And I got invited into an engagement pod right away. And for me, because I do have a marketing agency, that was probably the biggest pain that I experienced was, oh my goodness, like in order for my podcast to get some virility, I had to constantly be engaging on their posts, which a lot of them were posts I wasn't even interested in. So for me, that ended up turning out to be a bit of a nightmare. And after those 17 weeks, I thought, I'm done. Either I'm going to have to hire a VA for LinkedIn, but I didn't want to do that because my comments are quite thoughtful. Or I'm just going to take a step back because with my sponsored advertising, I get conversion. And with the LinkedIn model that I was doing, just, making my posts go viral, yes, I was getting thousands of downloads on my podcast. But it was so much work just to manage those posts and, sort of the tradesy, like if you like my post, I'll like yours. And I was spending almost 5 to 6 hours a day liking LinkedIn posts that I wasn't even really liking.
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds like
I've definitely tried one or two. It's not worth all the hype. Yeah, you grow your connections, but they're not authentic. They're not real. It's just like a numbers game to some people. And that's so not what I'm about. Like I want that authentic connection with people.
And it's not your ideal customer either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like I'm gaining followers and connections that like, they don't even want what I have. I don't want what they have. And so what's the point at the end of the day?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I found a lot of people wanted what I had. They just were a different market group that, I probably wasn't in their budget for a lot of the people that I was actually, they were booking my calendar full. And that's just kind of where I just thought, what, my lead generation tactics are much, I was getting more conversion rates. So that's why I just kind of like jumped off of that kind of area of doing pods, engagement pods. But Richard, I know, has a different method on LinkedIn that I wasn't using when I launched my podcast. And that's something I haven't personally tried yet.
Yeah. And I was bringing these stats in earlier, and then I think David came along and we kind of got sidetracked, but I want to bring back this point because I think this is super important. Like the light bulb went off for me this week because I was trying to put together my stats. I guess it would help if I actually shared the screen. And like I told you guys, I was a little bogged down in statistics or in technical work. So this is what I was working on this week, is putting these stats together. And this row 2 is where I was inviting people to a list. And row 3 is where I'm inviting people to a group. And I think the list was over 3 to 4 weeks, maybe. I sent 3,000 or 2,300 invitations to join a list. At 364 accepted at a 15% conversion rate, which is pretty cool. That's actually pretty good. Then I sent 3,600 since January the 11th. So this has been going on for a month and a half. Is that right? February? Yep. What day is this? Yeah, so a month and a half. And out of that 3,600, 971 accepted at a conversion rate of 26%. And here's the thing that, like, where I had the light bulb moment was I realized more people would rather be in a group engaging than be on your list, no matter like what kind of content you're going to give. And in hindsight, well, duh, that only makes more sense, right? But I'm the scientist, so like I don't really see the truth sometimes until I got hard numbers on it. And when I saw this, that's when, like, I think Jolene, I disrupted our call with that one. Like we were talking, I was like, okay, but I got this thing I want to tell you about. And it's like, okay, so this is what we've got to do.
Can you go back to that for a second? And I have a question about it as well.
Yep.
So
there we go.
While you're pulling that back up, were those two stats happening at the same time? Or were so you tested one and then you tested the other?
Yeah, so this first one probably started right before Thanksgiving and went through right before Christmas. That's this row. So pre-Christmas, and then I took the Christmas break off for like 2 weeks, and then I started this next campaign.
And then that second row, since there's a higher amount of people that you sent it to, are 2,300 of those people in that 3,600? Like, were they the same audience, or is that a totally separate audience?
Completely different.
Okay.
Yeah. And this maybe I don't know.
There's yeah. I can see what she's saying, because there's a little bit more sent than in the first row. But still, I think I can, from percentage, I think the accepted rate is still a lot higher, even in comparison to how many was sent.
Yeah, so that's why you have to go by the conversion ratio itself. You really want to compare these two.
And then my follow-up question to that, which is less significant, but still I'm going to ask it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
For the second message where you asked them to opt into being in a group.
Yep.
Even though you're not asking them to be on your mailing list, are you still also adding them to the mailing list when you're asking them to be in the group?
Nope.
Or you're keeping that list completely separate?
Yep. I think that's bad business. So there are two points to make there. The first one is I think that's bad. Like people that connect to you on LinkedIn, and then the next thing you know, they're dropping you. You can tell you're on their list and your inbox is getting hit up with their stuff. That's bad marketing. Like I would never do that. The people that are on my list, I've explicitly asked them, like I've told them about the newsletter is what I call it, email list, and asked them if they would like to receive it. They say yes. Then I ask them a second time, cool. I think I say something like, I'll personally add you, just, give me your email address. I'll personally add you to the list. Then they give it to me. So I know that like most high speed marketers, and I don't mean that in a good way necessarily. I don't necessarily mean it bad either, but I'm not saying that they're really good marketers. They want a one and done. Like, I'm going to ask you this question. Hey, if you'd like to join my newsletter, give me your email. But like, and
then they've opted in for every single one of your things.
But also when you read that, you're like, oh my God, it sounds like spam already. Where like, that's where I think correctly connecting with your market takes a longer process. You can still do things at scale, but you don't do it all in one step. It just takes multiple steps. And when I show people the process, that like when they give me their email address, I think I've showed this on the show before, but I get their first and last name. I get their LinkedIn link. I get their email address.
Yeah, that was last week's spreadsheet or one of them.
Yeah, and I go, like, it takes a little bit of time for me to do it. But in the end, I've got something that's much more valuable than the guy who just sends like this massive paragraph of I've got this newsletter, give me your email address, which sounds like spam.
Yeah,
So-
and I think to add on to that, Richard, like, even for me, and I've often said this, being a marketer, I'm a tough sell. So as soon as I connect with someone, even on LinkedIn, and if their first message, because you often know it is an automated message, if it has a link with it, I'm just out. It's right away not personable. I know they're selling me something. I know they're trying to get my email address. That if you're going to send a link in the very initial message, it's just it's not as personable. It instantly kind of, for me, makes me feel cold.
Yeah, and honestly, like as I'm going through this process with Richard and now with you two, a little bit, because I'm being very transparent here. Like I'm sending out those connection messages, and I'm not even like responding right away, like to send out my follow-up message once they've connected with me. And when I do, even that follow-up message doesn't have a link in it. Like I haven't, those 200, 300 people that I've gotten over the past 3-4 weeks or whatever time frame it is, I still haven't asked them to be on my mailing list because I don't want to come off salesy. Like I want to grab their attention, but I want to do it in an authentic way where I'm building that connection and giving something that they actually like need and want. So I haven't even in the second and third message, I still haven't put a link to like invite people to join or anything.
And you're absolutely right. Like you want to be focusing on giving value first, where you're not saying, hey, I'm Jolene and I want to sell you something. You're like, I'm Jolene and I want to give you something. How can I help you? So, and that's what warms up a cold lead to a warm lead. And then, a hot lead is somebody usually saying, well, stop talking. Where do I sign up? Right. So for me, a lot of my strategies, even in my sponsored advertising, I'm always giving something away for free, whether it's a downloadable, a blueprint, an ebook, or I'm doing a free mini masterclass. Marketers will do that, like Richard refers to as the fast way. We'll build a complicated, well, not overly, but an opt-in page or whatever that leads to these mini masterclasses. I've got your email address, and then I'm going to start to softly sell you through email marketing, or have that pitch at the end of my mini masterclass. And I think that's something where there's so much power in groups, because you can drive a lot of people to a group where you're not asking them to buy anything. It's just
Right.
You're engaging with other people, you're learning from other people, you're being supported by other people that are in the trenches with you. And that's where I find that the groups can have a lot of power.
Yeah,
First.
and also if you're getting people to sign up for a masterclass and it's free, they're automatically getting all that free value and that free knowledge that you want to like share with them. But like if they've signed up, you already know that they want that information. So it's not even like you're selling at that point. Like you don't need to be. You have what they need.
Yeah, like I've done so many masterclasses where I've launched them in like 3 or 4 videos, and sometimes by the second video, there's people saying like, "Where do I sign up?" Like, just put the button on now, because I've already sort of, they've got to see my expertise, or however they're connecting with me. If they like my personality, they trust me. They already know this. She's selling exactly what I want. So where is the next page that I get to go to where I can see what the price is or whatever. So, and for me, that's really exciting when, people are already asking for you to pitch before you're even ready to do your pitch. So I've done a lot of experimenting with that. And I've gotten good at it. And in terms of the groups, though, that's something that like I haven't focused on a lot in the groups, and I think that's where maybe Richard and I have really, that's sort of where we're going, is we are going to be creating sort of a super group that operates much like a masterclass, but in a group setting where we're not going to be pitching something for quite a while.
Hey, and also, Shell, can we go stalk your stats for a second? Is that okay?
Sure. Do I need to pull anything up, or you're going to pull it up on your end?
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
You probably already have it loaded, locked and loaded, and ready to go.
Boom. Yep. So
I think we pulled this up last week too, but
I know
maybe it
you and I have looked at it, but I can't remember
Yeah.
if we pulled it up on the group. I will need to zoom in, I think.
we talked
Can you-
about you stalking my stats. I don't know that we pulled it
Yeah,
up.
I don't know that we actually looked at this. Okay, so basically what happens for all of you out there that didn't see this, I think I did show this last time. I have written a little plugin that when I visit LinkedIn profiles, this part in green and down here, this part in green, it scrapes that info out and it throws it back here into my database. And so it all started because I wanted to keep track of locations where people were, and you can't, when you do a search on LinkedIn, and for example, if I'd search for everybody in New York that were my own connections, it will only show me the first 1,000. So if I have 2,000 connections in New York, using LinkedIn, I can only see the first 1,000. But if I want to see all 2,000 of them, I have to keep track of that information myself. That's how it started. Over time, it grew, and I just started keeping track of how many followers people had. Again, because when you go to someone's page, if they have no activity, this won't show up down here. And up here, it'll just say 500 plus connections. And in my database, it'll say 500. And so I know if someone has a number in followers that's higher than 500, I know that they're active on LinkedIn, which means if they're active on LinkedIn, maybe they could use LinkedIn marketing services, which is something I do. So it's just a little indicator for me to know if this could possibly be my customer. But the thing I want to point out with Shell is over here, it puts in the date of every time that I have visited her website. So that's how I showed her. It's like, I'm not stalking you, because like, I went from January the 30th to February the 29th. And hadn't visited her page. But when I do visit, it records these numbers. So here you see 1,031. Well, actually before that, maybe 975 is at the end of January. This is probably Shell right about the time when you were starting to go with this method that I talk about.
I think
Oh,
it
we
wasn't
can
until
actually see her numbers
mid-February that we
increasing.
started doing that.
Middle of February. Okay. So I'm sorry. What did you say?
No, it's interesting because I can see like her followers increasing
Yes.
like
Yeah.
suddenly.
Yes. And
that was before the messaging. Yeah.
Yes. So 975 to 1110, which is what I just visited. So it shows up like that's right now, 4:03 Central Time. But the point that I wanted to draw out of this is these are her ideal customers that she's connected to. It's her ideal spot. So these last, whatever, 150 that she's intentionally connected to, these are all people that are highly likely to need and want her services. So she's growing a very, very, very targeted following on LinkedIn and now Shell, as Shell releases, now is when the social media, let me flip back to that. Now's when the social media aspect really starts making sense, that if Shell puts out a post saying, let me help you get a job, let me help you prepare your profile, let me connect you with recruiters, there are 150 people that she just connected to. And because they just connected, they're highly likely, according to LinkedIn's algorithm, to now see her content. And it just resonates even more with them, establishing that she's the person they really need to work with on landing their next job. So,
yeah, and
so
I just
the
want
social has to come after you're doing, these other things, not before.
Yeah, and I had like a really exciting moment the other day. Actually, it might have even been yesterday, where I was checking my my feed in LinkedIn, but not even the feed. Like, what's it called? I'm drawing a blank on what it's. Hold on, I'll pull it up.
It wasn't the news feed?
My notifications. I was going through the notifications, and it said one of my posts was trending, and that was the first time I had ever seen that, and I got really excited. And so, yeah, I'm trending apparently.
What was the hashtag?
The hashtag was, I'm sure it'll still say it. Where are you? The hashtag.
It'll be by the way, it will almost always be the first hashtag in your LinkedIn post.
Remote work.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so, that one would be trending a lot right now.
Yeah, I think the second one was working from home or whatever. But I've been trying to be more strategic with my hashtags on different platforms, where previously I was just like, all right, I'm using these on Instagram, I'm using these on Twitter, and I'm going to use these same ones, but they're not all trending in the same platform.
Well, with Instagram too, you can't use the same hashtags all the time because the algorithms catch on to that too.
Yeah, I try. I have like I want to say at least 50 different ones that I switch up. But even now that some are trending more than others, I try to rotate those out. If I've used them recently, I use other ones. That way they're not all the same.
I know it's so hard to do because if you're in a niche, you kind of run out of hashtags.
I want to be using ones that are relevant, but I also check the stats on them to see, are they like ones that have more than a few hundred posts? Are they ones that like have a few million? Because maybe then people won't get them as much because there's so much activity on it. Like I try to keep it in the hundreds of thousands, or at least the tens of thousands, so that it has like a decent amount of activity, that it'll come up in people's feeds, but not too much and not too little. So I'm probably being really, really intentional there, probably too much, but I try to keep an eye on that on different platforms for sure. But yeah, excitement, because it was the first
Very
time I was
cool.
trending.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
Only
awesome.
I could do that on other platforms.
I know Facebook can be like crickets when it comes to organic stuff. LinkedIn definitely seems like the platform that has a lot. It just goes farther, especially if you have like a good following, and and you're in pods, I guess. But that's something that I just never want to ever do again.
I am not in any pods currently. Yeah. Did you want to talk more about those stats that you had on the page, or that was
No, that was it. That you're growing your followers. That your new connections are, according to the algorithm, going to now see your post more than likely. It's much higher chance. Even if they liked your content, you actually get more weight after you first connect, and especially if they message you after connecting. And so even if they turn down your offer, or you gave them that message of, hey, I'd like to help you with, or here's something for you to use, and they never reply, that can stick in their mind. Then they start seeing your content saying the same thing as whatever you were going to give them. And in their mind now, you become that expert in that field. So these are highly intentional, very valuable connections to have, versus like the pod method where you're like super busy all the time and like shotgunning it out there, and everybody you meet wants to do nothing but soak up all of your time, and none of them are your ideal customers.
Yeah.
And if I can add on to that, Richard, with my podcast, I only did one post a week. So a lot of other pod people were doing 2 to 3 posts a day. So the fact that I did grow to, just over 3,500 in 17 weeks, only doing one post a week, I was pretty happy with that. Some of my posts were getting a lot of likes, a lot of engagement and stuff. And I actually had a group of friends that, I'm in Canada. I don't know if you know that, Shell, but I'm Canadian. And my following was mostly Americans. And I did one post, which came about maybe 5 months after my last podcast post on anti-bullying. And that one got shared like crazy. It wasn't done professionally like my podcast. And my whole entire group of friends were like emailing me on Facebook going, oh my God, I seen your anti-bullying post. And I probably had about 20 friends message me about that, which they didn't engage on my LinkedIn, but somehow it got around to them. And I wasn't even connected to a lot of them on LinkedIn, which was really interesting to see that happen.
That's definitely like an eye-opening moment for sure. And actually, I did just learn that you were Canadian because I connected with you on LinkedIn.
I just accepted it here. I've seen it pop up on my phone. But yeah, I'm not very active on any social media when it comes to scrolling through news feeds or even posting. It's very, very rare that I'm posting right now because I've been in build mode. So I'm kind of the type of person that like I'll really duck down and just build, and then I like come out of nowhere. So that's sort of what I've what I've been working on lately.
Do you even if you're not posting your own content, do you go in ever like during a break when you're not like super
like
in
on the
focus
toilet?
mode? Or whenever, yeah, on the toilet, sure. And just like other people's posts, that way you still keep your activity up.
No, I don't.
Okay.
It's I found that it was very mentally draining for me. As I shared with Richard, it got to a point where my husband's like, I don't even remember the color of your eyes. And for me, I'm never bored, right? Like I create content. I love creating content. And, lately I've been spending a lot of time sort of building programs and web building and ebooks and things like that. So I wouldn't say I'm creating social media content right now, but I've been building out my master classes and things like that. So, and I love doing that stuff. To me, that feels like a hobby, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's sort of my work. So I don't have time to do it. And I find that when I do, I feel sort of drained, like a vampire, like a vampire's just hooked its teeth into me, and then I can't get out. So there's a level of addiction to it, but I don't know if, like I started, and I'll share this with you guys, and I don't share this a lot with a lot of people, but I started
Don't
out.
forget we're live.
I know we're on the live.
You're sharing this with a lot of people right now.
When people start coming into this group and we're getting a lot more views, they're going to know this. But I was one of the first early adapters of online dating. I started in chat rooms when I was 13 years old. And then when I seen my first online dating site at 18, I signed up because I got an email. It was an email marketing, and it was a hot cowboy. And I was living in this little crappy city with hardly any people. And I thought, how am I going to, and it's like, hello, Jolene, I'm looking for you. And he was so gorgeous. I went inside and I was on a mission looking for him. And, I was in there for hours. Well, with the online dating kind of system, I remember kind of looking at it as like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I can meet people. But a lot of people didn't have pictures up back then because everyone's like, oh, it's only for the antisocial or the unattractive or geeks or whatever. So I was super secretive. I didn't have a picture up or whatever. But there, as people started adapting it, it became very, very addictive. And I grew my network, I want to say in about 10 years, because I was like single off and on for 10 years. I still have in my phone probably over 10,000 contacts from online dating. And for me, not that I dated them all, I really didn't. But,
You're building connections.
I actually used it as for networking. And a lot of times, I would just connect, and I treated them a lot like a business sort of connection, or like maybe they had a friend or whatever. And I met a lot of amazing people that I'm friends with to this day through that. But with that experience so young, the addiction side of it, when Facebook ended up launching, I seen how that was going to become pretty addictive as well. So I've always really, really managed my time with it. So the times that I do jump in, if I happen to like your post, it's probably one post that I've seen in the last 3 weeks, where I've jumped in quickly and maybe to check like an event invite. So if I get a notification for birthdays or events, I'll look at that. And a lot of times it'll jump me into that news feed. So I might see something, but often because I'm a marketer and Facebook tracks everything, I kind of have this rebellion thing with it where I refuse to engage because it's tracking my behavior and then it's optimizing ads at me. Right. So, which is hard to get away from anyways, because even if you Google something and you search something up, the minute you start looking at a site a lot and they're running campaigns, you'll start seeing that everywhere, where you'll just be reading an article and you're going to see like contact lenses being advertised at you.
Oh, I just got an email about contact lenses, and now it's in your Instagram feed as like the next ad.
Yeah. So in terms of the groups, with Richard, we had a lot of discussion about this, that Facebook is very noisy. Instagram is very noisy for me as well. And so is LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is my market. And I know that at some point, I will have to be active in there again at some point, but it's not going to be at the level that I was active in when I launched my podcast. I have a whole other strategy for that this time. So, it was a good experience, and you learn from it, right?
Learning every day, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I want to share this other one with you. It just came in. So this is the comments. I want to see if you guys can pick up on this. This is the comments that are on Restream. So I think this is off of Twitch, this particular one. That you guys just read it through and tell me what you think.
I'm about to do animated Be Right Back.
Yeah, I'm about to do animated intro and offline screen for your channel.
Oh, it sounds like somebody's offering to do. Yeah.
And then read the last statement.
Check out the website on my profile image.
Yep. So, hey, love your show. I'd love to sell you some stuff. Come
Mhm.
check out my website. It's like,
And-
really? In
and
3
that's it.
messages, they went from like sincere and praising to I'm going to sell you something. It's like,
But
come
also,
on.
how sincere was it?
Yeah, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like if they had just
Yeah.
left that first comment and said, love your thing,
Yeah.
like
But
that.
that's the Ty Lopez strategy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ty Lopez, but he teaches people to like offer something for free, so that like do something, make a logo for somebody, or make an intro, make a video animation, and then put a big watermark over it, and then get them and get them interested. Like, hey, look, I did something for free, so that you can get their attention. So that looks like he's using that strategy.
Yep.
You always want to be adding value to somebody, giving value to somebody wherever you can, but I don't know how far I would go to like spend time going that far with it. And also all the typos and the language just really stood out to me. Not being super judgy because I have typos all the time, but like, was somebody in a different country writing that and then it was being translated, or was a kid writing that? Sorry, I'm being really judgy right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, totally. I could script that out. I could script out those 3 messages, and then
With
you just
typos on purpose, yeah.
yeah, and then you could just go hit every like live broadcast that's going on and drop these comments in as a sales mechanism.
And it makes it sound a little bit more authentic, right? If they see that you have typos on purpose because they think you're typing it in real time, but they might not be.
Yep.
And I think the trick is that, you want to have people chasing you, that you're not even really having to really pitch. You get to a point where people, they're such raving fans and that they just want to work with you. They're reaching out to you. So when you're having meetings with them, they right away are like, look, I'm not going to waste your time. I saw you do this. This is what I want to talk to you about. Can you help me? Right. And that's what happened for me, like after I launched my podcast, which was awesome because, I spent a lot of time and a lot of money just, trying to market and pitch. And Richard knows this, like, I hate doing sales calls. I hate closing. Like, I'll hire people to do that for me because I really do like to help people. So I hate that point of like, okay, now here I want to offer you something now, right? So
yeah, you want to get past that and get to the point where you're helping them.
Yeah, so I've gotten to the point where when I do sit down with somebody, usually they already are like, they're ready to go, which is great because we all know our weaknesses, right?
Well, we are coming up on an hour and a half. Shell's left ear is beginning to hurt. I can tell. I'm gonna have to give you some different headphones or something. I
These
don't know.
headphones are not the most comfortable, but the sound is actually pretty good. So that's why I'm sticking with them.
You sound really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just to kind of like, in terms of like, I guess this was to cover, how to know what to give for free and when to charge. Did you go over that?
We
No, we
didn't hit
never
that
got
point
to
yet.
any of those things.
But we could talk about it right now in the next 7 minutes.
There's 7 minutes left. Okay.
We didn't have a time frame for it.
Yeah, we don't have
it
a
takes
hard
longer.
time. It's just that Shell and I have typically said we try to not go past an hour and a half. One time we had like a 2-hour one, and it was exciting, but at the end you're like, oh my goodness, I don't have any more energy left.
Yeah. But yeah, no, let's jump into that. So
I'm going to pull up the list. Jolene, did you want to say something about that while I'm trying to find this?
Well, I kind of went over it a little bit. Like, I think really it's initially when you are marketing, you're always going to be giving away something for either low risk or free when you're building the relationship. So, and that kind of works much like a funnel would, right? Is taking them from cold to warm to hot that they want to buy. So what I typically do is I'll create my product or my service, if that's a course or what you may have. And then I'll take pieces out of it where I'm giving things away for free, but, sort of like selling the sizzle, but not the steak. So I'm whetting their taste buds where, I know that they want what I have and I'm showing them a little bit how to do it, but I don't give away all the secret sauce. And the secret sauce is in the payment option, right? That's where they get all the bells and whistles and all the information.
Can I just tell you right there, I love how you had so many like steak metaphors.
I love steak.
I'm showing you the sizzle, but not the steak. Like I'm whetting your appetite. Like you said so many good things there that now I'm hungry. Like where's
Shell
the
goes.
steak?
By the way, Shell goes and eats after our show. So.
I do. It's almost dinner time.
Yeah. It's like emotional eating, like excitement eating. What is your time frame? I'm at 3:30 here almost in Calgary.
She's in New York.
Yeah, it's almost 5:30 here.
Yeah. So I don't know if Richard, you wanted to add on to that if you're still looking, but does that sound kind of, similar wavelength to what you sort of offer or how you strategize it?
Yeah. So just like we just did with David. So we were able to we answered his question. I talked about doing things simple. I showed a model. I talked about how complex things can easily get. So keep it simple. We even told him, hey, this is what we're going to be using. But the implementation of it, like now we gave him a direction, and some people that are technically inclined, whatever, and they have the time to go figure it out, they'll go and do that. Other people, they're like, I've got money and I would rather pay you just to tell me or pay you just to do it. Let's get this done really quick. And I think that's the difference, because like no matter what options we tell people, the implementation is always going to be, there's always going to be something that they don't know until they go and do it and have to figure it out. So it's kind of like to tell people what to do, but not how to do it. And you couldn't possibly tell people how to do it without taking a long time. And that's where like putting together a course or whatever makes sense, because it's going to be hours of recording. Like what was the membership plugin that you? Yes. Yeah. So like Wishlist, like it's going to take, it would take like 2 hours of us videoing, getting it installed, all the options, what they do, why you're going to do these different settings, and then showing like we've created this product and this is how that works now with this plugin. We wouldn't do that on a live. It's untenable. Versus just saying, hey, use Wishlist or use Kartra, like whatever, use Thrivecart. Like it's simple to tell people the what, but the how, I think it almost, because it takes so long to do it, you're almost prevented from being able to tell them how to do it from the beginning.
Yeah, and I think for me it was I'm going to jump into like what we were talking about recently with like my free guide that you were looking at. Originally I had a few different freebies that I was offering people, and I always want to I'm more than happy to give you all the knowledge and all the value with that, but at some point, I have to charge for things because my time is money. But even when I just added to that guide, and I have this 10-page guide, and it gives people tips on how to optimize their LinkedIn profiles. And Richard, I think one of the first things you said was, are you giving them too much information for free? Whereas prior to that, we had talked about that I might not be giving them enough value and to add more. And so there was a moment where we both had to think about it. And at the end of that, I felt comfortable still giving away that much value for free, because I wasn't telling people exactly how to do it. I was just giving them the guidelines to go and try it for themselves. So,
and my question was coupled too with, sometimes you can give people enough information that they think, now I can go do it on my own, and then they fall flat on their face. And they'll never say it's because I couldn't figure it out. They'll just say, that thing is too hard to use, or I don't know how Shell does it. I don't know how Jolene gets that to work. That's no good. And actually it is good. They can't break through that knowledge barrier to learn enough to make it work correctly. So sometimes if you give people too much, like it's enough where they think they can do it, but they actually can't. But they're fooled into thinking they can, and then it just doesn't work for them. So that's I think that's why I was asking the question then. Like, is this too much? Because they'll shoot themselves in the foot, but thinking they got it done correctly.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of testing the waters with that to see if that's too much value to give them, if I need to scale it back again even more. But as far as being comfortable providing that value for free, I'm still okay doing that, knowing that there's so much more to that later on once they're like hooked with that value that I've given them.
And Jolene, this is
Oh, sorry.
yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The plug and play, when somebody can give you all the tools, right? And you know, like we gave David Karcher or whatever, but you know, he might go onto that website, research and look at it. Maybe he's super technically advanced like Richard, which a lot of his stuff, you know, looks like Greek to me when I look at it. But you know, if David is technically advanced, he might be like, okay, yeah, I know how to plug this in. But for someone who's really green, who, you know, maybe they're used to being a salesperson, but they don't have any digital knowledge or any digital tools experience, they might look at that and say, oh my goodness, this looks like Greek to me. I wouldn't know how to plug this in. The minute that they start going to a demo, they might not understand it, right? And that's where you'll definitely have those certain types of people that can go through even mine. I'll have those certain types of people that go, I just want to see how our sales funnel works, because they're marketers and they might have liked the way I did my video or whatever. And they'll come in and they'll try to, you know, just to copy what I do because they know how to do it. But the majority of people, and I hate to, you know, put like a tag on them, it's civilians, you know, they're not marketers, right? So they're just like, I have a t-shirt company, or I'm a coach and I'm a really great coach, but they don't know how to plug a sales funnel in and make it all work and have all that messaging right, because they're a coach, right? They're not a webmaster. They're not a web developer. They're not a marketer. So that's sort of what you always have to be aware of, is that not everybody is going to know how to plug everything in just by you giving them some information.
And I've seen this, and Jolene, this is something that like we got to think about with our group. I'm sure you've seen it. Someone's in a group and they go and they make their website, as just drawing an example. And to them, it looks really good. But you as a marketer, you're like, oh my goodness, like that'll never work. But then they post it to people in the group and they're like, hey, I just got my website done. Take a look at this. And they're super proud of it. And so you can't tell them that their baby's ugly. And everyone else in the group, also, they're not marketers and they think it's the greatest thing too. And you're the expert who now has to be the bad guy to say, that's not going to work. Like that's, so like in the group setting, I think this is where the value is in having a paid group, because you're paying me to tell you that baby's ugly and you're not going to have success with that. Like, as much as like sometimes that may feel like I'm being cold-hearted, callous, like whatever, but the bottom line is, do you want a successful business or not? And if you want a successful one and you're paying me to help you make sure that it's successful, then you're really paying me to tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work. So sometimes like free groups, free groups can get your hopes up falsely, and then you can't figure out why you're not having success.
Well, it's the same thing. Like you could hire a personal trainer and go, I know how to do a workout. I can, you know, get my workout done in an hour, but then you work with a trainer and they go, oh my goodness, how, you know, do you have shoulder pain? Yeah. Well, you've been doing this move wrong all along, right? Let me show you how to have the proper form. But you're absolutely right. Like I spend a lot of time approving people's work, and it's sort of, I don't know, I feel bad about it at some point, you know, because you take someone who's really green, who's never put together a sales funnel, and they actually put everything together, but then the design is really ugly. And you're like, well, that's great. Like you've got the functionality. Now we really have to work on your design. And they're like, well, I thought the design looked great. I love my color palette, blah, blah, blah. And you know, they don't even understand the psychology of the color palettes as well, right? So taking people through that process as well. And, you know, I think I said to you just the other day when we were talking, Richard, is that I'm a very visual person. I'm an artist. And so I forget sometimes that I have to manage my expectations of other people, so something that I do that I think is really easy isn't very easy to other people, right? And and then what you do when you show us all of these coding and things like that, and you're just like da 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 da, and me and Shell are like, okay, yeah, my eyes are boggled, like,
Yeah.
but
I think even last week you pulled up a spreadsheet and then you had to go back and put like a disclaimer and say, guys, you're probably not at this level yet. Don't make the spreadsheet. Like, figure out the simpler stuff first,
Right.
and then we can make the spreadsheet later. Because
Yep.
I was definitely like, oh my God, spreadsheet, like, show me how to do
I can
that.
go do that. Right.
Yeah. And I think it's like you have to be very careful to not overwhelm people. So sort of give them some underwhelming tasks first before showing them the big picture, so that they at least get a little bit through it and they're proud of themselves, that then you can go, oh, okay, now here's the rest of it. And then they go, oh, but it's like, well, you actually got up this far, so you can get to the rest. You can get to the end stage, right?
Yeah, like,
And this
the
is
start
why
thing you thought was easy, but like it really wasn't that easy, but you were okay doing it. So now, like, keep that momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I need. I've known it all along. I need co-hosts. I got to have people that keep me in check. Like, totally.
Because we're telling you that your language looks alien to us.
Yes.
And you didn't realize it.
Well, no.
They're
I
also
like.
good talking points for future shows. Come on.
No, I'm
I'm
the
going to
guy
call
that's
Richard later and be like, okay, don't show that again. That's gonna
right.
scare people.
I'm the guy that's just dumb enough to think that you guys will maybe if you don't understand, you would follow along, and that you'd stay with me. But the truth is, as soon as people's eyes glaze over, like, they don't hear anything else you say after that. So,
Mhm.
like, I have to have a sounding board of people that say, no, that's a little too deep, and you need, like, stop it right there. Don't keep going, because
Or
no
like, can
one.
you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like even on YouTube videos, if I'm ever like Googling something that I want to learn, the minute that I start to see something that shows a bunch of coding, I'm gone. And I'm thinking, okay, this is just for web guys and dev guys. Like, I'm a designer. I don't even want to see that. So like, I'll click onto somebody where it looks like layman terms to me.
Yeah, sometimes I just want the roadmap. Like, show me like step by step so that I can plug it in and get the answer myself. But like, show me how to get there.
Yeah.
Guide me so that I'm not lost halfway through.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me air step through these other ones really quick. The bullet points that were on the email that I sent out, and I think the
Your
description.
sound just got really muffled.
Oh, his battery might be dying. I think he said he had low.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything,
Okay.
and it still says 2 out of 3. So
But it did get really muffled for like a second.
maybe it's the way I turned. Okay, so this was the last bullet point: how to know what to get for free. The next one up from that was, what value can you give them now? And really, the secret answer is, what are your customers' pain points? Which is the next bullet up from that.
Why
And
is their
then-
hair on fire? Right? That's what you always say.
Yeah, but like that as soon as you say, like, I've got this potion for you and it solves problem X, that someone says, that's exactly what I need. They're not thinking about price. They're ready, because like, oh my God, that's what I've been looking for. And then that's how you make your niche really clear. Like, I made these bullet points in reverse order. You make your niche really clear by figuring out what your customers' pain points are, and that's tells you what value you can give them right now. And then out of that, you need to figure out what can you give them for free versus what you need, where the line is for charging.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I like the term sell like a doctor. So nobody goes to the doctor without having a problem. And then the doctor diagnoses, prescribes, and then you're running to the drugstore to get the prescription, right? So, and that's sort of what us marketers use too, is like, how do you prescribe and sell like a doctor, right? So that you understand exactly what pain point they're having, so
Right.
that you can prescribe the solution and solve their problem.
Yep. And no doctor walks around the mall stopping people saying, you look a little sick. Maybe you could use this prescription. Like no doctor does that.
No.
So even the witch doctor doesn't walk around with all the potions and like.
But network marketers do. Your hair is looking a
Absolutely.
little thin. Why don't you try my shampoo?
I've got these new vitamins for you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we are at an hour and 40 minutes. So,
All right. Well, thanks for having me come on.
oh, it's good.
Suddenly, had I known, I might have showered.
Live
I'm
every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
I,
Feel
I
free to
was
join
hoping-
us next week too.
I was hoping you would join, so it's really good to see you.
I know. I think he tricked me into it. He was texting me. He's like, "Go here and then do this, so you can comment." And then, of course, I start like, oh, let me help this guy. And I just got pulled right in.
You're in the funnel.
Yes.
So Arlene put a photo up. What is up with that? Like, she's always had pictures of trees as for her Facebook photo. Now we get to actually see what Arlene looks like. And she said that's so true, but she said this 10 minutes ago, so I have no idea what we were talking about.
Could have been a steak.
Yeah, it was right
Yes.
around the stake time. It was when we first started talking about the free versus charging.
Maybe that's it. So for all of you guys that have been troopers and stayed with us for this hour and a half, it's been a lot of fun. Glad to
guys
have
learned
you.
something.
Jolene, thanks for dropping in. And
thank you.
Everybody look forward to seeing more of her because we will be doing some more things together as we go forward.
Is there a case study coming?
Ooh. So
Of course.
that's what I've
There's always
those-
a case study.
those stats you guys saw, like I have been working through this thing with technology problems that you guys don't want to hear about because it sounds like Greek to you all week. But yes, the case study is definitely coming. And I will include the stats that I just showed you guys earlier on email invites and group invites and how they're performing. However, the thing I want to point out with that is like a lot of people could see that I'm getting 15, 26%, like whatever acceptance rate or opt-in rate for the things that I'm doing. And the first thing that people always think is, okay, but that's you, Richard. Like you can get that because you've got some kind of like whatever special thing or whatever. And people never think that'll work for me. So I will give you my numbers, but I will show you that I get those numbers for other people too. Like that's why I think Keith, even though his opt-in rate is lower than mine, is actually a more powerful case study than my own stuff because I'm showing you this works for other people. It's not just a me thing.
Yeah, and mine's not there at that level yet, but like we're using the same secret sauce just with my messaging, not Keith's messaging or your messaging, and it's still working. So it's still a viable thing.
And I think that's important. Like, once you have something that works, you're not reinventing the wheel. You take that model and you apply it to your own case study.
Sure.
Alrighty. Again, thank you all.
Thank you.
Do the harps.
Oh, yeah. So I've asked her to not play. So I'll tell her now she can. I don't know if it's disruptive to the thing or not.
It affects the mics a little bit. Remember, like it was picking up on my sound or like muting me a little bit. But
yeah, because when sound's coming through my mic, sometimes it cuts other people's mics out. So if I'm quiet, and my mic will pick up the gain, like becomes more and more sensitive until it picks up the harp, and then it cuts out Shell or whoever else is talking. So
you'll just have to get her to make you like an outro, like that other guy was offering.
Yeah.
Or I could
Has
just
he
pay
popped
him.
back in to see if he like had he offered that to you yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, too, with StreamYard, you can't like play music in the background. I mean, I guess no, I can't do it.
It's probably some sort of copyright music licensing.
Maybe. But I don't know, because I can play a video with sound, and so therefore I could just play just the video with sound. The problem is they don't have it enabled where we can be here and I can play that at the same time. It's either the video or us. So I think it's a limitation of their technology.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Well, thank you so much. And it was a pleasure meeting you, Shell.
Pleasure to meet you too. I look forward to talking more.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I'm going to chime out. To everybody that's still here, thank you so much for allowing me to come into the chat here with Richard and Shell.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See you guys next week. Toodles.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
There you go.